So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast on, I suppose, what could constitute the first day of the next league season, really, when you think about it. The day that we get to find out when, the 24 hours that we get to find out when we're playing teams before Sky turn around and turn it all up in the hoop and change all the fixtures again. But I'm delighted to be joined on location in sunny Tenerife by Paddy. Yeah, by Paddy today. And no, before anyone asked me, I didn't purposely make his picture smaller. It's a small picture. If I'd blown it up, it would have been pixelated. So on the thumbnail, I didn't purposely do that. Okay. But Paddy, I wanted to have something in there of Paddy drinking a beer because you've been letting the hair down and enjoying yourself over the last week or so, Paddy. And Villa couldn't be further from your mind. He says in the Villa jersey.
They're never off my mind, Neil. Are they really?
Yeah.
It's I you know, when bad things happen and the way the season ended was awful. you kind of look forward to the fixtures coming out, and there's a few really contentious fixtures. But for us, the really annoying part is we're away from home again last day of the season. Like, what have we got to do? I'm just flabbergasted that they can just do that to us every year. And to make matters worse, we finished with Liverpool at home and Man City away. So immediately there was anger looking at the fixtures. But look, when you sit down and go through them, you're always going to have a period where you're worried about certain, like Christmas. We'll get to it in a minute. But I think to start at the start, you take Newcastle out of that.
Let's start. Yeah, let's start at the start.
Yeah, but if you take Newcastle out of the equation, we really should be winning our next 5 games, you know, or could potentially win our next 5 games, and that would give us a brilliant start. And look, what's to say we won't beat Newcastle either?
Yeah, next 5. Oh, sorry, I'm reading this. And this is something that annoys me. Do you know, okay, into the mind of Neil Dunworth and his undiagnosed neurodivergence that is constantly grips my life. Like, you know, when I get so annoyed when teams have a link that you have to click on to get in to see their team sheet, and it's not even a team sheet, it's an article about their team sheet, and it annoys the living dead outside of me. What's annoyed me here is the fact that we're not reading from top to bottom here, that we have to go August and then September is to the right and October is under August. So that actually gets me annoyed to do that. Anyway, but less of my grievances and gripes. But yeah, like Newcastle at home, let's go and that's going to be a big one, obviously. I might actually try and get over to that game if I can. Obviously, tickets will probably be like goalless. I'd imagine that's going to be a big wish list game for a lot of people. Obviously, get Newcastle early. Let's see what they do, what business they do with Champions League on the horizon for them, and maybe catch them cold at the start of the season for once, as opposed to them catching us cold whenever we play them. So that would be nice. Obviously, you've got Brentford under new management. Could be somebody. Could be Keith Andrews that we've often chatted about off camera. All right, Keith Andrews there. Could be Brentford manager. Then you've got Palace, obviously, but AFCON, if I'm not mistaken, is on that time. Is it that one, or is it the?
No, January.
It'll be the January one. Sorry, what am I talking about? Yeah. The January one. AFCON will be on, so we'll have no Ishmael Assar, so we have to make sure that we can catch them, try and catch them cold. Then you've got Everton in a new stadium. You've got Sunderland, who have been newly promoted, and you've got Fulham as well, who's a team that we seem to have the hex over the last couple of years, you know. So it's, for me, I think it's a decent start. But like the big talking points of this are, and look, obviously some of those will probably be moved and changed. We don't know what teams are going to strengthen at this point in time. I did see somewhere that Opta have us as having the best the lowest strength of schedule for the first 5 fixtures of anybody in the league. So we've the most favourable first 5 fixtures. But you know, and I love Opta. I've got no issues with them whatsoever. But I think I've also seen people put out how many points do we get from the first 5 games, and that's all bonkers at this stage because no one's even signed or sold anybody just yet. There's been no injury in training camp. There's been nothing. So the variables and intangibles are vast and myriad to be able to say how many points we're going to get. But I'm still confident we're going to get 18 points from the first 6 games. That's 100% sure. We always do this, and we always talk about I suppose Christmas is what we come to because and we just said this off camera. I said this to you. I genuinely think this might be the hardest Christmas schedule ever.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
Like, it has to be. It has to be up there as the hardest month of December probably ever. I think that's bonkers. Like I know you've got Man United, but obviously, look, I'm never having anybody tell me Man United are beatable ever again. Until I see it, I will not believe it. Brighton, Arsenal, West Ham, United, Chelsea, Arsenal,
and then a couple of days later, Notts Forest. So
Forest, yeah. Tough. That's the tough month, you know. That's a month that you don't want to be playing. And no offense to Lamar Bogart, but you don't want to have like a centre half partnership with Boubacar Kamara and Lamar Bogart in there because we're struggling with injuries, kind of like we were last year. Don't want that to be happening in and around the turn of the year. Yeah,
well, the difficult part is we're going to be at the business end of the Europa League at this stage as well. So there's going to be other fixtures mixed in around there, and if my calculations are correct, I work out that 6 of our 8 games in the Europa League will be followed by home games, which is a positive to a certain extent because, you know, you want the players rested up and in their own beds and not having to travel to Newcastle or Sunderland in after flying back from wherever far-flung places they send us this year. Astana, yeah. But yeah, that Christmas, the whole of December, like you're Brighton away is never easy. And just before that, we've got Wolves as well, who have been a bogey for us. So, as you say, we're very far out from the season. We don't know who's going to sign who. We don't know what like you mentioned about Keith Andrews. Does a few managers get poached from other teams, and things change dramatically between now and then. Who knows? But it's bloody difficult, and it doesn't get any easier. We said, as you said, you got Palace again in January. I think the AFCON starts later than the 7th of January, so we still have Ismail Assar. But we got Newcastle again in January, so it doesn't get any easier as you go along.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? I am going to preface this with under Unai Emery's tenure, when our backs have been against the wall with tough months of fixtures, we tend to kind of perform pretty above what we expect. It's the months where we have, like last year, you know, was it Ipswich, Bournemouth, Forest all came in kind of short enough succession. I'm open to correction on that. I'm just going by memory. And we didn't perform in those games, you know, and that's not to say that any of those were poor teams outside of Ipswich, I suppose, really. But, you know, when our backs have been against the wall, against bigger teams. And that's one of the things I want to see eradicated this year is the whole, why do we play at high octane and when we're playing against a team that we're not fancy to beat and then not play that way against the team that we are? I need to see that mentality change. And I'm sure that everybody else, and without getting into 40 different comments about it, I'm sure everybody else kind of echoes that statement because, you know, that's something that that as the team progresses, matures and grows, that's going to be the measure of whether you're going to be, whether you're going to be a perennial contender for Champions League or not. I think. And Paddy, the fixture gods didn't do you a favour either. Manchester away on the 14th of March.
Yeah, they just, you know, they couldn't. I've got a big birthday that week, and they couldn't even let me enjoy it. They're just going to send us to Old Trafford, get done over by a referee or an idiotic mistake from our goalkeeper, and and I'll be annoyed all week then going into my birthday.
Exactly, yeah. Great way to start off your next decade. for sure, that way. Whereas I, on the other hand, have been blessed with Sunderland at home. So my birthday is in April, and the 18th of April, Sunderland play Villa at home. Albeit it will be on a Sunday, so I'm probably unlikely to get over to a Sunday game. And that's the other thing, Paddy, is obviously we don't know kick-off dates and times, but I maintain there might be a situation here where we only have one Saturday at 3 p.m. kick-off in the whole season. Man United I think that's what Man United had this year. So it's and I know they're going to move Man United to more favourable times regardless anyway for primetime viewing because of the worldwide fan base and stuff like that. But I could see something similar happen to us as well.
Yeah, it makes it all that difficult, especially for, as you said, the likes of us going over there on a Sunday is difficult, and getting yourself back in good enough time to be going to work the next day is tough. But look, it is what it is. It's just down to that quick blow of a whistle on a afternoon in May, which could have had us in Champions League football and not having to play every Sunday. But it's frustrating that there will be so many. But even at that, they go straight away in putting us live on TV at 12:30 on the opening day. It's just they couldn't wait. And while I'm at that, that fixture in particular. No, I didn't read too many fixtures, but that fixture and kickoff time was leaked all over the place yesterday.
About 2 days ago, there was people speculating that was going to be the kickoff time, and that's what I'm not too worried about leaks. Just goes to show that that there's a process that goes into actually making the fixtures. For me, I'm not too worried about it. Because it gets leaked and everything. Like you look at Irish sports, you look at American sports, you look at our own GAA. Like I knew the trying times, and as soon as the draws were made, I knew the trying times of venues for everything in the quarterfinals and semi-final, or the preliminary quarterfinals and the quarterfinals for all the GAA matches that we're having here in Ireland this coming weekend. And especially if you look at the NFL fixtures, are leaked 2-3 days out before the actual release date and stuff like that. I think it's common, and you know what? It probably could be by design to get juices flowing and get conversation and get engagement and eyes going on hashtags and stuff like that around social media. So I'd imagine there's a strategy behind it, but it doesn't really bother me really. If those people who took a chance and booked their flights and accommodation, crossing their fingers that it was true.
I don't recall it ever being leaked before like that, but anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true from Gibbs. Is the journalist? I don't know, is it a few days early? But I think they do get the fixture list early so that they can be ready to go with their articles almost like as it's released. But open to correction. That's one to maybe at Jacob Tanswell or at John Townley to see if that is true. But I would presume that is the case.
I don't know whether it's changed, but years ago they used to get them at 8:00 in the morning, so they could have their articles ready for 9:00. So they'd have all their proofs written and just add in whatever teams were there then. Yeah. So an hour was enough to study it, I think.
That's true.
Leaking stuff always annoys me. I don't feel there's any need for it. Anyway, there you go.
And exactly. Well, look, I don't want anybody leaking anything from our team. God knows there was a time whereby the team sheets are being leaked 15-20 minutes before they're being released, and thankfully those days are few and far between now, because that can be quite frustrating. Quite frustrating indeed. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I suppose realistically, doing all these fixture release things, the reason we come on is, as you know, we do it every year. We talk about Christmas, we talk about the run in, I talk about the start day, we talk about our birthdays. That's it. If anybody's going to sit here and tell me that this is a bad set of fixtures and definitively on the 18th of June, we can't say that. Who's to say that there isn't? Like last year from Nottingham Forest, we would have said would have been an easier type of fixture on this when the fixtures were announced. Come 20 games into the season, everybody's going, Jesus, don't want to face Forest. We would have been saying, God, no, we've got Spurs at home. And then that turned out to be a wet fish at the end of the season. So the season is long, it's fast. Injuries take their hold on teams. and teams don't trade well. There's always a team that does not trade well in the off season, and that becomes they do drop a couple of spaces and do not become as like winning the transfer window can at times can make people look at this and go, oh my god, yeah, we've faced this team, but then the team doesn't gel. I think Man United win that trophy probably year in year out since Alex Ferguson's left. The team doesn't gel and they don't reach their full potential. So this is this is very much just paper tiger stuff, seeing what's on the horizon. And as I say, Sky will get their hands on this, and majority of those games dates will change. There'll be Monday games, there'll be kickoff times will change, and I would say even games will be moved into different months as well, based on as the season goes on, based on progression in certain tournaments, and whatever Man City want.
Yeah, we all know that's for sure. Anyway, I suppose the big one in the opening few weeks is that we play Everton away nice and early in their new stadium.
Yeah, you're going to go to it, Pat?
Yeah. Well, I just booked a hotel because obviously it's going to be one where people are traveling from all over the world to get to, because it's one of the first ones. But yeah, I booked a hotel. Obviously, you'll have to wait and see when the fixture is, whether I travel or not, but or if I can get tickets, which I would imagine this would be the one that everybody wants to go, because it's a new stadium and all the diehards want to be there for that one.
I just after seen something there. I'm in the UK on October. What date is that? What day is October the 4th this year?
We play Burnley. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, but so Premier League, if you're watching this, and if you change that from a Saturday to a Sunday, I will find you. I'll kill you. I will, because I'm in London that weekend to see the Cleveland Browns on the 5th of October. So I will hop in a train to Birmingham and do the Man United fan pilgrimage of coming from London to wherever the team you support actually plays, and we'll see if I can get to the Burnley game. Why not? I'll just be on the beer for the weekend anyway. I might as well be on the beer on the train as opposed to walking around Piccadilly Circus. So
it's the week before international break. I don't know. I did have the fixtures up earlier, but I can't access them on my phone because I'm on to you.
I'll see here now if I can find it.
It's I don't know. I don't know if there's a Europa League fixture on that Saturday, on that Thursday, I should say. And you'd have to think that'd be one of the fixtures that you'd be lucky enough they wouldn't move.
Yeah, just being so early in the year, I would imagine that might be the case as well. So hopefully. Who are the Cleveland Browns playing? Cleveland Browns are going to probably end up getting walloped by the Minnesota Vikings, but
you get to see them. You get to see them close to home.
We get to see them close to home, yeah, and I don't have to travel 8 hours or whatever, 6 or 7 hours. Well, 8 hours to Toronto and 5 hours by car. That's usually how I travel to see them. But yeah, and hey, 2 young kids. I'm not doing that ever again, I would imagine. So that's something that's probably past me at this stage. So I'd seldom his place. But
it's a good job. It's a good job. Birmingham's only an hour flight away, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, and even that's I get the squiggly eyebrow when I bring that up as well. So, but anyway, they're the battles I have to fight. But yeah, look, it is what it is, I suppose, with regards to those fixtures. I suppose it's just good to kind of see the clumpings and the conglomerations of when we're playing teams in the top 6, and obviously looking around to people's birthdays and stuff like that. So means absolutely nothing on a day like today. I'm more interested now in trying to see what happens from here on in to the 30th of June and then onwards after that, where we can I suppose get back to not worrying about pound signs. And get worrying about proper things that happen on football fields, and things that can actually affect Premier League tables and Europa League tables, and that's what I'm in it for here now at the moment. So brilliant.
Well, I long for the days that we can just talk about football again, not worried about money, and talking about.
And I think
constraints that there's a, as I always say, there's a reason they moved the financial fair play to PSR because there is no fair play, and soon there'll be no sustainability either because you're bringing up young talent and you're selling it on just so you can meet the constraints of what they're throwing at you. So,
but that is, I think that's going to be a good conversation point, I think, and I'm actually looking forward to that in July and August and seeing what young talent we have that will actually stick around this year because, there's no point going away and winning and having the best under 18 team in the land and doing something that you've never done before and then promoting Jimmy Shane to that position if you're just going to let them all waltz out the door afterwards. So that's a point of excitement for me.
It's not a question of letting them all waltz out the door. It's just the way football has gone, and that's the problem. And I said they removed fair play. They may as well remove sustainability from their from what they call it now because it's not sustainable at all. Yeah,
absolutely. No, and as I say, I'd be hoping you get at least 2 or 3 from that 18s team, because if you think about what we got from the next gen team that came through, like a couple of those guys actually made very, very good careers themselves at the top level, So obviously Jack Grealish being one of those as well. So Gary Gardner obviously went on to other teams and a couple of others escaped my mind. There are lots of others there as well. We want to see that same kind of impact from this team as well, and hopefully we see Hemmings and Borland and Kocher and Roth and Sam Proctor all sticking around for the next 6-7 years or 8-10 years or whatever. I mean, we getting the best of them because teams are going to be built, or you want to have teams that are built on even the methodology that Barcelona are now currently using. They went away and they bought a load of really young players and see the brilliant football they're playing, and that's why I will always say when people say Barcelona having the pot to piss in, Barcelona will find money somewhere, and the reason they can do that is because they're actually pretty good at signing young players and can bring them through Lamiata. So let's do that, and let's do that in Bodymore Heath as well. And actually, I think Paddy, you were mentioning about the players getting stay in their beds. Am I wildly off the reservation, or will that hotel be? Has that hotel been? For Bodymore Heath, there's the ground been broken on that? I think it has. Has it not been broken?
The ground may be broken, but it's a year away before I think anyone can sleep in it.
Okay, well, you can sleep in it. You just be cold and wet. That's what. When I was in architecture, and people would come to me and go, "We will be in for Christmas." Because you will, but you might be cold and wet, though. That's the only thing. Like, you can be in whatever you want. Because just bring an umbrella with you if you. That's.
And don't do it in December because it's open and wild in Bodymore Heath.
Exactly.
At the best of times.
Exactly.
Imagine what it's like in December.
Absolutely, for sure. Right, Paddy, I'm not going to take any more time on your family holiday. Go away and enjoy yourself. And that sky has turned decidedly grey behind you. I don't like the look of that. It's very Irish looking here.
It's doing that all week, but then it clears and then you've got lovely sunshine and then it comes again. But sure. Brilliant. We can do it. We can get by with a few grey clouds because you need a break from the sun at some time.
Excellent. And when you come home, you can tell us all your scouting reports that you're out there looking at young Tenerifan kids that are interested in signing. But I shouldn't have said that in the podcast, should I? See, does that one grow legs, and see, does that one make its way around the internet? The Paddy's on a secret scouting mission to try and sign up some young Spanish talent in Tenerife. But yeah, listen, go in, enjoy yourself, and for everybody who's watching as well, thanks a million. I think I'm back on later. I think I'm doing a bit with Dan Bardell later on. So if you guys are around, you might catch me on the 1874 podcast later. I don't know what time, but I'm going to jump on with Dan, have a chat with him, and then tomorrow we will. I'm going to be chatting to Jay White tomorrow as well. Is
that not tonight? No,
that is tonight, actually, because tomorrow has now become today, hasn't it? Yeah. All going well. That would be tonight as well, because I just remembered I have to travel for work tomorrow, so I'll have to get on the road here early enough after when I'm finished up. But yes, put it this way: podcast coming, and we've actually got a nice, interesting podcast coming next week as well. At some stage next week, I have a bit of a series that I'm trying to get off the ground. I don't know how sporadic these ones will be in and out in there, but I think a certain element of our fan base will enjoy these this series that we have, if and when we can get to interview people who fit this bill. But stay tuned for that one. Maybe next Wednesday or Thursday there might be something interesting, something we've not done before will drop. So and I'm not just trying to build up excitement for it, but I am, if you know what I mean. Right. Thanks so much, everybody. See you again. Villa are going to win the league. And stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.